Dating is so hard. I just want so badly to love and be loved, to find like my partner, find my person. Another round of time being wasted. I can't wait for the time where most things about me are endearing to someone, where I find someone who has like the same communication style as me, is emotionally intelligent. I just don't know like when it's gonna happen for me. And like, I know I talk about my dating on here and people can have their own opinions and this and that, but I'm just someone out here who's trying to find someone.
Yeah, guys, you know, she's just trying to find someone. Dating is so difficult. Let me translate here, okay? Chad won't give this woman a relationship. So here she is crying on the internet, crying on TikTok for attention and validation from strangers. These women could have a relationship with the average guy, but what they really mean when they say they're just looking for love is they want a man who's well out of their league to have a relationship with them. You know, some multi-millionaire tall guy who's just going to save her and be with her until the end of days. But guys, we are going to be jumping into some more absolutely stupid TikTok video clips for you here today. Kicking it off with a different one from the one we just covered, which we will be returning to later on. But we're going to be jumping into a clip from this woman right here, who I believe is 32 years of age. She's single, she's in LA, and I don't think she's too happy about it. So guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, and let's continue with some of these ridiculous TikTok clips.
Maybe the third glass of wine talking, but I need to tell you guys something, okay? Let me preface this entire story by saying that I am 32. I am single, I'm in LA, I pay my own bills, I run my own business, I have never felt bad about myself.
Right, so whenever you have somebody sit here and try and tell you that they have never felt better about themselves and that they're so happy being single, and you know, you've got some woman on TikTok spouting this nonsense, I always never believe them. You know, oh, I pay my own bills, I'm a single, strong and independent woman. When have you ever seen a man jump on the internet, whether it be TikTok, YouTube shorts, whatever the case may be, and go, you know what, guys, I pay my own bills? Right? And this is called being an adult, but apparently women just, they list it as though it's some part of their job resume when they're trying to get a date with Chad. I pay my own bills. Yeah, as you should, you know?
Single, I'm in LA, I pay my own bills, I run my own business, I have never felt bad about myself. I'm at the top of my game. I'm running with the big dogs, okay? I could see a man on the street, and if he gave me the slightest air of a bad vibe, I would audibly hiss at him. Wouldn't even think twice about it. I wish a motherfucker would, okay? Also, this same girl, still here, wakes up on a morning like the other day and it's raining in LA, and I think, wouldn't it be so lovely to awaken in the arms of a 6-something man, make out a little bit, make a complicated soup recipe, and just snuggle to our heart's desire.
Holy hell, this woman is insane. And you see, this is what I'm talking about, guys, is you have these strong and independent women who don't need no man, okay, but they desperately want to find a relationship. I think a lot of guys get this confused when they hear these women talking about this for the first time, is because the average guy will watch a video like this and he won't understand that the woman is absolutely full of it. More and more men are waking up, which is great, but a lot of people will see a video like this and be like, oh, she's just out here looking for love. You know, she's just out here looking for her man. I could be that man. And dudes get this idea in their head that these women actually are interested in them. No, these women are not interested in average men. They are interested in the dudes who are, you know, 6 foot plus, making a lot of money, perhaps have a house that they've paid off and so on. And these are the types of dudes who these women are trying to chase. You know, the attractive guys who have their life all together, got the house, got the looks, and so on. She wants a relationship with him. The average man, what will she do? She will hiss at him on the street. She will be ready to brawl that man. I don't know why she's looking to get violent with random men on the street, considering she would absolutely lose, but nevertheless, that is her opinion.
Awaken in the arms of a 6-something man, make out a little bit, make a complicated soup recipe, and just snuggle to our heart's desire. Sure. okay? Look, and do some of those feelings linger a little bit because I'm a little hormonal, and sometimes that makes me feel a little bit melancholy about not having a partner in the whole thing? Whatever. I'm only human, okay? Sure. But then I have a day like today, and I get to run around the Grove with my friend Callie, and we pick out outfits for our photo shoot tomorrow for a podcast that's launching. Shh, don't tell anybody, okay? And then my friend Michelle calls me when I get home and goes, hey, babe, I picked up a ribeye. Why don't I bring it over and you cook it and we watch Sex in the City? And I go, great.
This woman, guys, they're clinically insane. So let me just surmise this video really quick. I'm going to wind it back so I can stop looking at that terrifying frame. So this woman is 32 years of age. She's still single. She's crying on the internet about it, saying that she wants her 6-foot+ man who she can make complicated soup recipes with. She lives in LA. She watches Sex in the City, and she records TikTok videos while being intoxicated on, Lord knows how much wine. I can't imagine why a man wouldn't want to date this. Guys, I'm telling you, these women are absolutely complete train wrecks. And I would guess as well that this woman's quote-unquote friend is probably not much better. She's probably, early 30s, still no family, still no husband, still no long-term relationship, in the exact same boat. The phrase goes something like, birds of a feather kind of flock together, which if these women don't want families, they don't want to get married, that's fine. But I find actually a lot of them actually really stress about it. They want to have these things and they're running out of time and they get sad because they still don't have a man. And they think that because they pay bills, this is somehow going to attract the man of their dreams. Like, no, absolutely not.
Picked up a ribeye. Why don't I bring it over and you cook it and we watch Sex in the City? And I go, great. Couldn't think of anything better to do with my time. And I just had this little gooey little moment where my feelings are almost too big for my body. And I go, I'm surrounded by so much love. There is so much love around me. Sure, it's not coming from a 6-something man who probably doesn't even dress that well anyway. Okay.
I love how the first thing, by the way, that we mention about what we desire in a man is his height. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens when women actually tell the truth on camera, guys. Perhaps she's a little bit intoxicated. Usually they'll say dumb crap like, oh yeah, I just want a man with a nice personality. He has to treat me well. I want a man who loves me and loves me unconditionally. They'll say some crap like that. But when women tell the truth is, hey, height, money, good looks. Or, you can also phrase it, I suppose, as looks, money, status, whatever the case may be. But certainly one of the first things that they typically actually prioritize is a dude's height. Like, let's not joke ourselves about it here, guys. Women want to be dating dudes. They want to be marrying men who are at least taller than them. And people come out and say, well, isn't it the same thing for men? Men prefer women who are shorter. The difference is a dude won't completely write a woman off just because she's not his ideal height. Men are very flexible with the types of women that they might be interested in. A lot of these women, guys, you don't even exist to them unless you're like 6 foot. It's absolutely hilarious. And then they cry about being single at 32. Like, yeah, of course you're single. Of course you're single at 32.
And who probably doesn't even dress that well anyway. Okay. I have nothing but love around me. And that is really something so nice.
Yeah, guys, it's just really something so nice. It's so fantastic. But at the same time, she has a mental breakdown because she's 32, she's in LA, and she still does not have a man. Now, speaking of mental breakdowns, let's continue into the first clip that I put up here on today's episode. I love how all of these are just shot in their car, by the way. Like, women go to have their temper tantrums in their vehicles for whatever reason. I assume it's for a few reasons. Number one, to look like they actually have a life and they go places. And don't just spend their whole day on TikTok indoors outside of their working hours. There's that, and then there's probably they don't want to record it around somebody that they can be judged by, and so on. But let's jump into this clip here. This is the woman's dating update. She's in tears. She's crying, guys. Let's see what it's all about.
Dating is so hard. I just want so badly to love and be loved, to find like my partner, find my person. Another round of time being wasted.
Okay, so she said a lot here. So she just wants to find love. She just wants to find the man of her dreams, But that really is not the case, okay? The thing is, guys, is again, women have, like, even if you were to take this woman right here and put her on any sort of dating application, you know, just present her as an option to reach out to a lot of men, she would get a lot of interest from dudes. The problem is women don't want just any dude, okay? They don't just want the average guy walking around who makes an average income, who's an average height. This man simply will not do. Okay, I think this is absolutely reflected in the types of men that these women select. If you go and look at actual swiping statistics, for example, from women, which, by the way, is where everybody's meeting each other these days online, there's really only a small percentage of men that they're interested in. So when they jump on the internet and they're crying and they're saying that they can't find love, the translation is she can't find some multi-millionaire Chad to have a relationship with her. Right? And what does she do? She claims that these guys who don't want a relationship with her, she'll go on to do this in a minute, emotionally unintelligent guys. You know, they're not emotionally cued in. If you as a man don't want a relationship with a woman, the phrasing is that you're damaged in some capacity, you know? Let's continue.
Find like my partner, find my person. Another round of time being wasted. I can't wait for the time where most things about me are endearing to someone, where I find someone who has like the same communication style as me, is emotionally intelligent. I just don't know like when it's gonna happen for me. And like, I know I talk about my dating on here and people can.
Oh my goodness. Stop talking for a second. Just stop it. So, what does she label these men as? You know, she says, you need to have the same communication style as her. You need to be emotionally intelligent, or whatever the hell word she used. You know, it's some buzzword that makes absolutely no sense. The translation here is that the men that she's trying to date do not want to connect with her on an emotional level. They don't want to give her commitment. They don't want to open up to her. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to invest in this woman emotionally or in terms of commitment at all. That's what this really means, guys, is, you know, men lack emotional intelligence. They lack communication skills. No. The men are not communicating these things to you because they don't like you in that way. You know what I mean? He just needs to communicate this and that. It's like the man doesn't want to communicate with you. That's the point. That's why you're so confused. That's why you think everything is so vague. That's why you can't tell if he's interested or not. Let me translate. The man's not interested. Okay? If the man was interested, he'd be putting effort into you. You would be able to get commitment out of him. It's so funny, guys, how women will actively do this crap to themselves. Make no mistake, it is a choice that they are doing to themselves. They will do this crap to themselves rather than actually have a relationship with a man who cares about them. Right? Because he's boring. He's not as attractive. He's not as tall. She would rather literally make TikTok videos crying in her car about this.
I can't wait for the time where most things about me are endearing to someone, where I find someone who has like the same communication style as me, is emotionally intelligent. I just don't know like when it's gonna happen for me. And like, I know I talk about my dating on here and people can have their own opinions and this and that, but I'm just someone out here who's trying to find someone.
These videos have essentially become like a comedy skit to me, man. Right? Because imagine, so this woman is in this position, okay? I wonder how many men she's ghosted and ignored and treated like trash. And, you know, she's going on and on about dudes' emotional intelligence, okay? It's like, when men get rejected by women, do you find men throwing around words like this? Oh, women are just so emotionally unintelligent, all of this stuff. It's like, no. Women are allowed to reject whoever they want. They're allowed to ghost people. They're allowed to ignore people. They're allowed to say no at any given point in time. But if a man says no, if a man does not communicate that he wants a relationship with you, then somehow we lack intelligence, okay? We don't know how to communicate. The thing is, these guys are not going to sit here and be like, yeah, you know, I don't want a relationship with you. They're not going to communicate with you directly because they have no need to. You're giving your body to them for absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? This is kind of like, if you reverse the situation, this is like some simp out here spending money on women, right? Because he thinks it's going to buy her affection. and then complaining when she doesn't give him affection. Oh, she's just emotionally unintelligent. She won't have intimate time with me. I spent $3,000 on this woman and she won't give me intimacy. You look like an idiot. You know, why? The question would become, okay, why is that man spending $3,000 on a woman in the first place who clearly is not interested in him outside of his money? The same thing is true with these women, guys, is they spend all of their, you know, they're intimate with these men, they give their bodies away to these men, they emotionally invest in these men, and then they're like, wait a minute, these men don't want to commit to me. Like, of course they don't. In the same way that women will run away with free attention, validation, or resources, men will just say, you know what, I'm going to bounce as well. I don't want a relationship with you. I got what I wanted, and things are not going to progress. And modern women have a huge issue with this.
And this and that, but I'm just someone out here who's trying to find someone. I just sometimes feel like the love I so desperately want to give and to receive is not meant for me.
No, it isn't. You're absolutely correct, madam. I'm not going to beat around the bush here, okay? I'm not going to be like one of these people that comes to her video and comments like, you're so brave, queen, you'll find the one. No, your strategy for finding quote-unquote the one is deeply flawed. It is deep, and women will hear this. You know what they'll say, guys, right? Women will hear this and be like, yeah, you know what? The way I choose men is absolutely incorrect. I need to raise my standards. And so then what they do is they're like, they pass on these standards that they now have developed as a result of hearing that, because they're hearing a completely different thing, right? If I say choose better men, the women go out here and go, well, I'm just going to up my standards. But the thing is, they only apply those new standards to the men that they find unattractive. The unattractive men will still get away with not putting in any commitment, not emotionally investing, not investing in any sort of capacity, and they will still be able to hook up with you, which is the problem, right? But the guy who's average, he has to take you out on dates, he has to try and make you feel something, he has to do a whole lot of convincing, and you're not attracted to him, you won't respect him, and you'll cheat on him anyway. Women live in like a completely different reality, man. You can say something that makes complete sense, like, hey, maybe choose dudes who are on your level, right? Maybe choose better men, and they'll walk away and go, yeah, I deserve better. And then they'll just fold in on themselves in some sort of disgusting process of narcissism and then screw it up even more. It's completely ridiculous. Speaking of completely ridiculous, let's continue on to the next clip here. I believe I have another one lined up. This woman is actually insufferable, so I'm going to give you guys a chance, you know, just a warning here before we jump into this one. So this is a woman who is now married, and I don't know why the dude would marry a woman like this. You'll see in a second here. But she is now married, and this woman is, you can tell she does not like her husband. So let's take a listen.
We got married. Me and my husband were having a conversation about whether or not I was going to take his name. And I was basically like, no, thank you. I like my name. It's been my name my entire life, and I'm rather attached to it. So I'm going to keep it. And he was like, yeah, okay, sounds good. No problem. But what if we have kids? Like, whose last name are they going to take? And I was like, well, if I am pregnant with them and I birth them, and they come out of me, then they will be taking my name. And he was like, makes sense. No further questions. Got it. And I was like, and if you ever in the future find yourself feeling left out and you want to share our name, then you can adopt my last name. And he was like, I will consider that. And after that conversation, I was like, yeah, this is definitely a man that I would marry. And I did marry that man.
Right, so we have Simp McGee over here who decided to marry this woman who is clearly does not respect him, clearly is not interested in him, clearly is going to leave him at some point in time, guys, right? People say, you know, what's the big deal? She can make this decision if she wants. Guys, please understand that if women are actually highly interested in you, if they actually respect you, if they like you, they will not act this way. This conversation would have never happened to begin with. She wouldn't be making this video sitting here. This, to me, guys, screams that this guy is not her first choice, right? What she did was she vetted this guy as a simp, right? A man who would do whatever she said and so on and so forth. And she's out here talking about, well, I give birth to the children. Okay, number one, you required the man to have the children as well. I understand that's not as difficult as the role you're currently doing while you're looking, you know, you're birthing the child, as it were. But then typically the man is going to be providing for those kids as well. He's going to be teaching them. Like, it's not as if the man has no input or, you know, nothing, no skin in the game insofar as raising the kids goes. Okay, like I'm so sick of hearing this argument, but you can tell this woman absolutely does not like this man, right? Like, why would you marry this? Why on earth would you marry this? This guy's like, yep, no problem, sweetie. Whatever you say, sweetie, not a problem. She's going to get completely screwed over. It's kind of like watching a car crash when I see these videos, guys, is like, you know what's going to happen. You know how this woman treats this dude behind closed doors, and yet the men still put up with it anyway.
Then you can adopt my last name. And he was like, I will consider that. And after that conversation, I was like, yeah, this is definitely a man that I would marry. And I did marry that man. And I was thinking about it, how enlightening that conversation was. And I recommend trying it out with your partner, because if you're dating a man and you're trying to suss out whether or not he's kind, compassionate, and empathetic, because it's really hard to tell.
It's not hard to tell. It's, guys, women pretend like they have to be the world's greatest detective, you know, like they have to be Batman or something, okay, like Sherlock Holmes or something, in order to, you know, in order to figure out if a man has empathy or something like this. No, you don't. Use common sense. This is, again, guys, I think that women have, like, when it comes to the men that they date, oftentimes, I think they have very, very bad character assessment, especially when it comes to the dudes who are highly attractive. But nevertheless, you don't need to be some super high IQ genius to figure out whether or not a man has empathy, okay? What this really is what I said a moment ago, which is it's a filter for finding a simp, right? It's a filter for finding out, hey, is this man, is he okay with the fact that, you know, I'm not really head over heels with being with him? You know what I mean? Like it's a filter effect for trying to find a simp who's going to do whatever it is that you say and put up with the fact that you're not attracted to him whatsoever. You know what dudes with self-respect do? They don't want to be with women like this. Women who make videos like this, who think like this, who clearly don't respect their man. Men don't want to be with women who do not respect them. Can you imagine, guys? I want you to imagine this scenario in your head for a second, okay? I'm sorry to have to do this to you. This woman is your wife, okay? You've had a long, hard day at work. You've made the bread, okay? You put the roof over their head for another day. You're like some laborer or something. You know, you're a bricklayer. You come home and you're like, honey, could you please make me a sandwich? What do you think that this woman's reaction would be, assuming she stayed at home all day? It would be hell. It would be hell no. Fix your own sandwich, you know? Like, how dare you ask me such a question? Like, no, man, we're not doing this game. I don't want to marry women like this. I don't think men should marry women like this. No.
And I recommend trying it out with your partner, because if you're dating a man and you're trying to suss out whether or not he's kind, compassionate, and empathetic, because it's really hard to tell. They're very sneaky. Even if you plan on adopting your partner's name, like that doesn't bother you, you want to, I still recommend having this conversation, because his reaction is very enlightening.
Yeah, guys, you know, even if you don't intend to actually follow through with what you're saying, I recommend that you do this little manipulation strategy as a means to test your man in some capacity. This is, again, why men don't want to date women like this, is they do like these manipulative little tests and word games and everything like this, and they put it under the guise of like, oh, to test whether or not you're a good man, but really it's just to see how much crap you will actually tolerate. That's what the test is. The test is, how much nonsense of mine is this man willing to put up with? And they have to do these manipulative little games, and they try and brush it off like, oh, I'm just learning more about my man. It's like, you don't need to manipulate a dude and come up with these stupid little, you know, word games in order to assess somebody's character. It's completely ridiculous. Let's continue on to the next clip here. Another woman in her car. Goodness gracious me, man. Let's continue. Again, guys, if you have thoughts or comments to leave for any of these particular clips, make sure you leave them down below, and let's continue.
Something deeply dark and sinister about a man who wants attention. Girl, why do you want attention so bad? Imagine how much attention you would get building a house like they used to. They used to build houses.
Okay, so let me stop you here. First of all, men are being, okay, number one, women are the ones who look for attention, but we don't hold women to the same standard, do we? Second of all, she tries to shame men by calling them women. I always find this really interesting how people will, you know, these women who jump on TikTok who claim to be so kind and empathetic and caring, one of the first kinds of shaming language that they will use is they will call you a woman. You know, like, let that sink in. For the 3.5 women who watch this channel, okay, this woman is using the word woman as a derogatory term, and yet she'll claim to be, you know, empathetic and caring. That's also interesting. Third of all, men are still building the houses. Who do you think is doing the construction in the current year? Did you think there was suddenly an uptick in women and now we have 50% builders who are women? No, men are still out here building, they are still out here innovating, and they are still out here, you know, carrying on with the duties of society. This argument is so stupid. Men have to go back to returning to building houses. It's like, you understand that men never stopped building houses, but hey, let's keep going.
You would get building a house like they used to. They used to build houses. Now they get online and they say, who's gonna buy me Starbucks? And they post thirst traps. And they get rude to girls who try to flirt with them.
Oh no. Oh no. So I think there's a meme going around, you know, men in women's fields. I've seen those comments fly around over on like places like Instagram, guys, like Instagram comments and stuff like this. So let me get this straight. The dudes are farming free attention and validation from the women. They're completely ignoring you and they're fishing for resources, and this pisses you off as a woman. It's almost like this is what women have been doing for a very long period of time. I'm sorry, but again, I don't have any empathy because women invented this nonsense, by the way. What do you mean? Oh, men are just getting on the internet and they're just trying to fish for attention and fish for resources? Oh, you mean like women have been doing since the inception of the internet? What do we, even before, okay, that was a joke, guys. This has been continuing well on before the internet. But how am I going to feel empathy for you when this is quite literally what women invented, man? I don't know.
Not me. That's not my community. But let's think about that. Men who want attention, girl, knock it off. Just knock it off. It's weird. It's sinister. I think that you're possessed. Men are just supposed to be humble. Like, leave the attention seeking for us. That's what it's for. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Yeah, I think you're crazy. You know what? I'll agree to that. Something we can all agree on. This woman is clinically insane. Guys, we are going to be leaving this woman to sit in her car and make these stupid TikTok videos, but for now, I am out. My sanity cannot take any more. Do not forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.